think esport is part of what the future will hold. There's this kind of online gaming, competitive gaming, recognizing that what the value that sport gives people, right, is about belonging, it's about entertainment, it's about drama. For many around the world, it's not about the soccer, right, the football. It's not about the rugby. It's not about the cricket. It's about what that sport gives me, right? And that's about drama and excitement and belonging, etc. And I can get that in many ways. And esport is one of those, especially for the younger generation globally, that is increasingly connected to, and they're getting huge value, huge individual and social value from those kinds of experiences. So I think that's a big part of what 5 years from now we will see much more simulated virtual online sport complementing the live physical on the field kind of action. A second piece of the puzzle going forward, what the future may hold, I think is a further globalization of sport from certain markets. So if you look at the NBA, for example, the National Basketball Association, the playoffs happening in the bubble in Florida right now, that product used to be an American product. Right, it's an American sport, it's an American league, but it's now global. And before the NBA had some of their issues in China, 400 million Chinese were tuning in every week to watch the NBA live. That's more than the population of the US. And so for the NBA to stand up and say we're an American league misses the fact that increasingly sport is global. FIFA has taught us that for many years, but I think for other sports, we think about World Rugby, think about the International Cricket Council, think about sports like the NBA and basketball, increasingly a global business. And so I think for those in the business of sport, for sponsors, it's not just about your local team anymore. It's not just about your national team or those sports happening in your national environment. It's about what sport and what sport product and entertainment and drama kind of product is most appealing to the target markets that you're focused on.
Is there enough to go around? And I'll ask this question specifically with women's sport in mind. And when I say, is there enough, I'm talking about sponsorship and a will to get behind women's sport.
The South African economy is struggling. And, Adrian Saville from Gibbs, has been helping us all think about this over the last few weeks. We know how tough an economic situation it is. In these kind of environments, there is less to go around. And I think brands, as I said before, have to make some tough calls about where to put their money. I think the sports that have received less support in the past may have an opportunity to get some of this limited funding if they're able to put together strategies that very clearly focus on the business results, the short to medium term revenues, margins, and profitability of these sponsors, right? It's a commercial partnership. If you're going to put in 1,000 Rand, well, you're looking to get 3,000 Rand out. Show me how you help me do that. And you don't need to be a PSL. You don't need to be a South African Rugby in order to do that. You just need to be thinking commercially smart. So in one sense, I think the downturn creates an opportunity for sports that haven't received as much support in the past to now put together better strategies. Do they have a track record? Perhaps not. But they have an opportunity to build a new story. I think the opportunity to go and look for funding and sponsors in new categories is an interesting one. What we've seen out of COVID, for example, is that cleaning companies and brands and categories that help us live our lives more safely during COVID and after COVID, habits are not going to go away. The focus on washing our hands, the focus on physically distancing, the focus on thinking about how we protect ourselves and our families, that's not going to go away tomorrow, even if we have a vaccine by early 2021. And so I think those are the new brands that you don't typically see connected with sport, where sports can go and reach out and create value propositions. We see that here, for example, in the NBA with Clorox, right? Clorox that has bleach and has kind of cleaning wipes. They've just entered into a new relationship with the NBA that's right for the time we're in. So it's about new categories. It's also perhaps about new geographies. And so, South Africa has always positioned itself as a gateway to Africa. South Africa has had useful relationships with the East and China, for example, in the past. And so thinking about international brands that may want to tap in to a South African or Southern African or African marketplace, can South African sport usefully do that in some smart way?